All right, my number 3 is a little more controversial because a lot of people are falling off of him right now, which I'm not sure why he didn't fall off. Like the play we saw at the beginning of the season wasn't much different than the play we saw at the end of the season. I don't know if people are sour on him because it's just he only has the one style, but whatever it is. Darian Kennard, he played right tackle at Kentucky, 82.5 grade round 2 player. He's just a man. He moves people out of the way. I would love to see him in like the Baltimore Ravens scheme. Imagine if he was next to Trevor Penny on the offensive line kind of thing. So I think he does his one thing well. He's very powerful, very big, can move people against the run. That's what he does. He's not the most athletically gifted. He will not be touching tackle at the NFL level. But I think as a guy who can come in and just be that power run blocking kind of guard for you, he is the prototype of his hand technique and pass pro can be a little better, but his anchor is really good against interior linemen or against exterior linemen. I don't see it going down at all versus interior linemen. So I think he's just an overall solid power run blocking player, but his position versatility is very limited schematically or position-wise. Number 4 is one of the players I fell in love with immediately. That no one was talking about. Overall at LSU, he is just super technically refined. I really like his technique, whether it's his upper body or lower body. He gets out of his stance really fluently. It doesn't really translate to power, like which would hopefully be. I think he's not like phenomenal. He's not elite in one skill, but he's an overall well-rounded player. I think that his technical refinement will allow him to start day 1, especially in his hands. And I think that if you have him in a zone system where he's allowed to wall defenders off and get up to linebackers who are smaller than him, he will excel in that. I think he's just an overall great player. Nothing overly elite or overly eye-popping. So I didn't have him as a first-round type player. And it's like how Darian Kennard is an elite power run blocker, and Ed Ingram isn't elite in anything. But if you want a solid 6 to 7 year starter at guard, who you can either move off of and trade a good piece for, he's going to be in the top half of the guard starters in the league. Day 1, I believe. He's that good of a floor. Kind of lower ceiling, but that's why he's a round 2 prospect. But talking about guys who have a higher ceiling but a lower floor is Cole Strange out of Chattanooga. He played guard at Chattanooga. He was taking snaps at center at Senior Bowl, which I didn't like his anchor and his get off when he was at the Senior Bowl when he was taken out of the snapping position, but he also never snapped before, so that could get better as he gets used to that if you're a center. But I think him athletically, especially against the competition he was playing against, was really good. Even when he was against Kentucky, he moved differently than a lot of the guys that were there. The fact that he played at lower level schooling, I think, is going to negatively impact his ability to pick up blitzes and really understand the game at a higher level. So it's going to take a little bit longer for him to come along on the mental side of it. But I think that he's versatile enough to play center. He probably is athletic enough to play guard and pinch or tackle and pinch if you really need to. He's still a work in progress as it comes to a blocker. He's nasty. He's got that mentality. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and I think that he'll be a good kind of guard for if you really need that move kind of blocker who also can bring a little bit of pop, especially against these smaller defenders or less athletic defenders. So I think Cole Strange, I was not particularly high on him at first, but after a couple more viewings, I'm up there. He's pretty good. Round 2 prospect. Borderline round 3, but I think for me it's a round 2. So now going to the complete opposite side of that, where Cole Strange was a smaller, kind of lighter weight guard who can move really well. Tyler Smith is 6'6", 332. He's half a point below Cole Strange, leading him in the round 3, more leaning towards a round 2 grade. He's got that power and the overall length that Strange is missing. He's not nearly the athlete he was, but I think as a guy who will get into you and just totally drive you into the ground and just absolutely destroy you as a run blocker, that's what he brings. He's a little raw technically wise. If you can teach him how to use his legs as a blocker, whether it's pass pro or run blocking, I think that he would be such a better pro than he was a college player, because his base is minimal. It takes a little bit for his leg drive to get there, so he can bury linebackers, but I think against D linemen, he's a little more limited with how far he can drive them back. But I think as long as you can get his footwork fixed up with that, it'll work out. I personally like his hand technique a little more than other people do. He can get caught holding a bit, which is, I think I reflected it more in his football IQ. He just needs to know when to let go of a block, as opposed to his hand placement being incorrect. Yeah, he's just an overall monster that wants to bury a player at every play. And if you get him in a power run scheme, I think he'll be phenomenal. I think he's a day one starter as long as you can get those. You can get him in the film room and mentally figure out how to stop holding so much, and then all you gotta do is focus on his foot technique. I think he's already a plus starter in that specific system. Next up is another Senior Bowl kind of guy, Dylan Parham, another guy who can play both center and guard. When I first viewed him on tape, he was a little lightweight. His movement was good, but I thought that he was more a technician than he was an athlete at the position. And I still don't see that as like total miscalculation, misrepresentation of what kind of player he is, especially because at the Senior Bowl he added 30 pounds. And he came in and he brought more power than I originally saw on his tape. I still don't like his competitive toughness. He won't block all the way through the whistle. When he's in pass pro, he doesn't really particularly seek out contact or go help out or anything. As long as they're not in his zone, he's kind of okay with letting it go. But as a right guard or center prospect, I think he's super NFL pro ready. He's technically refined. He added that weight on, so I think his anchor power will be better at the next level now. Now he's going to be fully used to playing with that weight level. He's good at. He's pretty decent at picking up the blitz recognition, but if he misses it even slightly, I think his flexibility is a little rough to come back and make those blocks. But yeah, I just overall like his technique a lot, and he added the weight, so that was answered one of the questions I had for him, which was how his anchor and power will go in his NFL competition. He still is a little athletically limited, but I think now that he adds that power dimension to his game, it'll make up for that. And like I said, he's very position flexible now. Position versatile. I keep saying flexible, even though that's an actual skill I have great. Theron Munford, another guy who got like round 2, round 1 buzz in the season. I think he kind of fell off. He moved to guard, and at guard, he wasn't powerful. When he was at tackle in 2020, he was able to move some guys, especially because they were lighter weight. But at guard, he's definitely a move blocker only. He's not going to be able to absolutely destroy guys, which I think maybe he might be able to move back up to guard or up tackle at the NFL level. He's very limited with which side of the ball. He hasn't really played on both sides. So I think if you want to play anywhere on the right side, you have to really get him well versed there. Other than that, I think that his get off is like one of the best in the class. He can get to the second level linebackers. That's where he's best at. Walling off defenders on reach blocks, I think, is where he'll make his money because he's a great mover, especially off the snap. So I think getting him in like one of those Shanahan zone systems is going to be the best for him specifically. Or if you put him on tackle, he could give you a little more power aspect. But I think guard, a move system, like a move blocking zone guard, is his best positional fit at the next level. Okay, Tyrese Robinson played tackle at Oklahoma. I really like Tyrese. He's one of my sleepers because, like how I said, Theron Munford is like one of those move blocking guard tackle hybrid guys. Same thing with Tyrese Robinson. I think he's one of the best movers. He also has this competitive toughness that Theron Munford lacks, where he wants to drive guys into the dirt down the field. And he plays on the edge of the penalty. He's a great mover. He's going to be phenomenal in one of those Shanahan zone systems. I think he'll be a great fit for the Jets. I like his fit with the Jets especially. The thing that separates Munford from him is that Munford's a little more technically refined, whereas Tyrese Robinson is very inconsistent with technique. Footwork, he's either got great footwork or it's totally off. His hand technique is a lot more consistently bad. He likes to do the bear hug. He likes to go for outside shoulders instead of inside leverage. He has a snap here or there. He has some good games where he has consistent hand placement, but that's not the majority. The majority of the time, he's bear hugging, grabbing outside shoulders, and playing with he's gambling. He's not going to get called for holding the play. So if you can get him in there and work on his technique, I think he'll be a better player than Munford. They're similar athletes. I think Robinson's a bit better of an athlete. I don't know if he's going to be able to play tackle at the level. He did play it. He played both sides. So I think he might be able to, especially if you get his hand technique, his outside, his feet technique down when he's on the outside, because he got crossed up a little bit with speed. If he's able to take those deep drop steps, he could fail outside at right tackle or left tackle for you. But I think move guard is his best spot. But unlike Munford, I think he could be a potential fit. He just fix his foot technique outside off his tackle. So yeah, one of my sleepers in this interior option, my class. Next up is Luckett Smith from Virginia Tech, one of the first guys I got to. He's just your typical. He's not like great at anything. He doesn't have the best power blocking. Virginia Tech isn't really. I didn't really like their offensive line class this year. I think he's more of an athlete than a power guy. Like, so you can see on his grade here, he's got some good get off, not the best. He's got some lateral. He's got really good lateral mobility and flexibility to catch blitzers when they come on the outside. I think his footwork definitely plays with a more narrow base than he'd like, and his hand technique. It's more good placement than anything, but he doesn't have a punch to really shock the defender. I think if you come out to him as like a swing tackle, he can play some offensive tackle as well. As at Virginia Tech, he has the movement skills to play on the outside. I think you can put him there, start mounting tackle, have him fail inside the guard. I just think he overall needs at least a season of like swing tackle or backup work to really fix his technique before he can become a potential starter, whether that's inside or outside. Or I'd prefer outside first and fail into the inside. That's just my normal philosophy because if you can play tackle, I'd rather play tackle. Alright, next up, somebody I'm really lower on, a 4th round grade I have on Jeremy Sallier. I know there's that one viral play where he pancaked Aiden Hutchinson. That's a one-off. Don't take that as he's this great, like, offensive tackle, guard, power blocker, because in the rest of his film, like, he can get off the line of scrimmage and into a defender, and that kind of faster get off can really help him blow a guy off the ball when it's between not ready. And his footwork in pass pro specifically isn't that great, but he has some driving feet in the run game. So he can still be a power guy, especially because his frame maxed out and it's kind of thin on the upper body particularly. But I don't think his power is all that phenomenal. He does have his off-the-tackle guard flexibility, versatility. But overall, besides his get-off, I wasn't really impressed with his athletic ability. So he's lacking in the power, which could get better with maxing out his frame and getting his legs more into it, more than they already are. He's higher up on that area, so I think that's less room to grow there. But like adding weight to his upper body could help with his power, and like his athleticism is good for like a college player, but I think it's no better than average as an NFL player. So I'm not the biggest guy on Jared Sallier. Somebody I am big on is Cordell Volson, North Dakota State right tackle / guard. He played right tackle for North Dakota State and then kicked aside for a couple games when there were injuries and things like that. Things with him is that as an offensive tackle, he had no get off. Now, get off is something I value a lot to your offensive lineman. But besides that, as a prospect, he's pretty good all around. He's got really good length, especially if he plays guard. He's 6'7". You're going to need a taller quarterback if you want to play on the inside. He's not the most like athletically gifted, like flexibility-wise. His lateral mobility was good on the outside, which means it's going to be pretty good for the inside blocker as well, even though it's against lower competition where he should be better laterally movement-wise as a lineman. These guys are all worse off than him, probably prospect-wise. He's an NFL prospect, obviously. His power on the outside was lacking, which makes me fear for his power on the inside because there's going to be bigger defenders, NFL-level defenders. But I think if you got his get-off better, he'd get his release from the stance, and he would get better as he's working more as guard instead of between guard and tackle. But if you get him down to the 3-point stance, he played a lot of 2-point, his get-off should get better, and he should be able to get into guys faster off the line and move them that way. But I can't say that for sure because he didn't really show that a lot in tape. His blitz pickup is average. I think his technique overall is pretty decent. But like I said, his get-off and his power is where he's really lacking. If you fix one, then you hope most of them fix the other. So I like Cordell Volson as a developmental guard prospect who showed some good signs and has a thing that his biggest deficiency I think you could really go about fixing as long as you get him more reps and things like that at guard. And if anything, play tackle in the pinch for you. He wasn't terrible at tackle either. Just had a little issues with speed on the outside, which is what I think using the guard would help him out with a lot. Marquise Hayes, guard from Oklahoma. Similar to how Tyrese Robinson was, more of a move blocker kind of guy, lacks that kind of power. Still a better power blocker than Robinson, but I wouldn't call him elite or anything. His technique is kind of the inverse of Robinson, where Robinson's hand technique was awful consistently, but he could have some decent footwork snap by snap. It's the opposite with Hart Hayes here. He has good inside leverage, but his feet are always too narrow. I think that really negatively impacts his anchor, especially against those large defenders. I think he's not going to be able. He played only the one position at guard on one side of the line, So I think he's not going to be able to play too much on the outside, and I think he's more versed on one side than the other. So it's going to take a while for him to get used to playing on the opposite side. I think as a blitz pickup guy and someone who's overall IQ, I think he's pretty good. He played at a big kind of school, so I'm okay with his IQ at the moment. He's got some good toughness. All the Oklahoma guys who really played to the whistle and were there for the quarterback. But yeah, overall, he's lackluster in a footwork and anchor kind of sense, which are kind of paired together. His power is better than his anchor is because his footwork and run blocking is better than footwork and pass blocking. Especially because he likes to bury guys on. That's why his technical is 10 out of 10. He likes to pancake dudes, and that's where he gets his leg drives to bury guys. Well, yeah, overall, the rest of his game is pretty lackluster. I think you need a lot of at least a couple seasons of seasoning before you become a starter. And then our only UDFA grade, Chase Hines. I was super stoked when I saw Eddie Ingram in LSU. I'm like, oh, this other guy on Walter Football, Chase Hines, he was getting buzzed along with Ingram, and he's the other guard. So I watched him, and just the technical refinement that Ingram brought, and the kind of power and stuff like that he brought. They're about equal power. Their get-off's pretty similar. I think Hines might be a better get-off athlete, but overall, I think athletically and technically wise, he doesn't match up to Ingram nearly as much. So I think I'd bring him in training camp, see if he can improve with that. But especially playing next to Ingram, you can see a total difference when it comes to technique and stuff like that. Well, now we're done with that. Let's go over the centers real quick. We gotta just keep this train rolling. Good thing there's only really 8 guys here. Starting off with the only interior offensive lineman who has a top 10 grade for me, and you can see the disparity here. Disparity? I think between the first two grades. Number 1 is 92, number 2 is 77. So we go from top 10 to a third round grade. Tyler Linderbaum, I have a too short out about him. I can't say enough about him. Wrestler, pinch wrist and works, even though he's smaller, I can get good leverage and get power from there. Best mover in the class, either line of scrimmage. Even though people are saying like, Trayvon Walker is elite athleticism, this and that, I think Tyler Linderbaum is a better athlete than him on the line of scrimmage. Come at me. He's just the best overall athlete I've ever seen at the offensive line position. And yeah, I think that he is a difference maker at center. He plays center, he's undersized, so people aren't going to draft his highly. Next up, Donovan West out of Arizona State. Another one of those guys who's going to be more of a move blocker than a power guy. I think complement Morse. I think he's going to be that kind of leader that comes out, sets the tone for an offensive line. Maybe could do a little better at participating in pass blocking, like if someone doesn't have a guy immediately in front of him. But at the same time, I think centers have to be a little more observant for that. Just an overall decent player. You can come in and be a starting center for you day one, but he's not going to have the super big upside like Linderbaum will have, or has any really elite traits. So I think Donovan West is your typical starting mid-tier center prospect you can get out there. James Empey, he's more of the power kind of guy. Oh, I lied. I gotta always see some of these guys I haven't looked at in a couple of months. I think I did in February. 3 months. So I apologize for that. I'm thinking of someone like farther down the list. But Empey is more another one of those guys who are move blockers. He does have a good anchor because his foot technique when he keeps a wide base is really good. I liked his game against Baylor when it came to that. Other than that, though, his technique overall is decent. I don't like him as a power kind of blocker. I don't think he really wants to bury guys who are out there, but I think as a 2 or 3 year starter at center, especially for the guys like Zach Wilson and stuff like that, he has the athleticism to kick out the tackle if you really need him to, play guard, things like that. I think he's a smart player. He's got good technique. Athleticism is it's all right. It's slightly above average, not average. So I think he has the athleticism to put him on tackle. He'll probably be a subpar athlete there, but as an interior blocker, he's got pretty decent athleticism. I just think he really needs to work on his power. If you're liking what I'm doing with the breakdowns, I have all these write-ups here for them. You can come and read it after that. So I think that this is just kind of a review of what I had put down in here. Guys haven't done the best job of going ahead and reading back through some of the guys I don't remember much of. What I do remember is Cam Jurgens. A lot of people are a lot higher on Jurgens than I am. They have a top player. Not me. unfortunately. He's a very good mover. I love his movement skills. But similar to guys like Mbappe, his power is lacking. I think his footwork is lacking, especially in the run blocking. Hand technique wise, he's gotta be more consistent on the inside, which will help out with his power and his anchor. Another one of those guys who's a really good move blocker, really good out of his stance at center, which I think is super important for centers, how fast they can get out of their stances. But yeah, one of those wide zone kind of Shanahan kind of guys at center. I think for the Jets or some of the Dolphins, that would be a great fit. Dawson Deaton is 6'6", 310. He's a bigger guy. I think his pad level negatively impacts his anchor from time to time. And his footwork is kind of skinny, so like his power and anchor aren't something that a guy who can be able to do at 6'6", 310. But Tyler Linderbaum is 3 inches shorter and 20 pounds lighter. He can move guys and stand up guys better than Deaton can. But he's another guy who can move really well for his size. I think his hand technique is one of the best in his class. He is able to use his length a lot while he's playing at center, which is really good for a guy you want to be able to keep defenders out of his body and keep his head on his shoulders. I think he just needs more work and more reps at center or maybe guard. With his length, you might want to try him out of tackle, but I think interior is where he's his best, despite his decent athleticism and height. So, another one of those guys, developmental move kind of guys who can add power to the frame. He's 6'6", he'll probably add another 5 to the frame and add some more. Chris Owens is a guard, tackle, center prospect, kind of one of my sleepers in this class. He's your typical Alabama offensive lineman. He's super smart, versatile, plays a lot of positions. I think he's able to anchor down against interior rushers very well, especially when he's at tackle, he's elite. But when he's at guard and center, I think he's still very good at doing that. He can move well, which is why he succeeded at tackle for Bama. He wasn't an NFL level tackle when he was at Bama, but he was succeeding against college level players. His technique, surprisingly, for somebody who comes out of Bama, isn't the best. I think it's something he's gonna have to work on, especially because he's not like an elite athlete. So relying on technique, especially to compensate for your lack of elite athleticism and power, will need to be something he can really work on. But yeah, just technical guy who can be like a versatile, multiple position kind of backup guy. You can grab him in the 6th round and really use him as a jack of all trades. Free up a couple different roster spots because he can cover the back for multiple of your positions. He can play all 5. So I'm happy with Chris Owens as a 6th round gem. And then Luke Wattenberg out of Washington, and I'm a Washington fan. I'm a big fan of Washington, but he's a 7th round pick. He's a decent mover with some good hand technique. His power is lacking. A lot of these centers, this is like the year of the move blocking center. If you're not moving any of those guards in the center, or someone like Zach Tom into center, even though then he's not that powerful. So I think if you're a team that likes to run a lot of movement-based things or a lot of zone schemes with your centers, get the centers out in space, I think these are the kind of guys you're looking at. But overall, I think that Wattenberg really needs to add more weight to his frame. He's only 293. If he adds that, his anchor will increase, and that's his biggest issue right now. His power is not good either, so I think he needs to really add weight to be able to be an NFL starter, which is why he's a borderline around 7 BFA kind of guy. And then finally, for this video, we have Alex Lidstrom. He is the younger brother of Chris Lidstrom, who was a 1st round pick for the Atlanta Falcons. And you think that pedigree really help him. It does kind of show up in his technique, but it's not the best. He was able to get outmaneuvered by hand technique-wise, things like that, against more well-versed defenders. He's not very good at picking up blitz recognitions, which is something you really want in your centers. He could play guard, I guess, a little bit, but not to the extent of which you want him to be out there, because his anchor and his power are not, or I guess I haven't said it yet, but his anchor and power, Wolf, are not good at all. That was really a theme with the Boston College offensive linemen I scouted besides Zion Johnson, Tyler Vrabel, and now Alex Lidstrom. They weren't powerful. They weren't head-to-head anchors. They were getting bowled over. He may be a little bit better as a move blocker than a power blocker, but not the best. I just think that if you're going to bring him in, it's for his intangibles and his pedigree, and maybe you can add some weight or help him, get technically better, so that way his technique can help mask his anchor and power issues. But that's all the interior offensive linemen. If you watch this on YouTube, you'll see the Dynasty Index that I was using to show off all these players. You can get that by contacting CoolPro88 on either email or Twitter and signing up for $3 a month or $20 for the year. If you pay the $20 for the year, you basically have all of next year's draft cycle covered as well as this one. So, yeah, if you like this, go ahead and hit him up to get added into the Dynasty Index, and I'll see you with, I believe, is either tight ends or deep tackles. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one I pick next, but you'll get it when it drops in your subscription feed. So I'll see you then.